Hey everybody, the first video I wanted to do today, since I haven't done a lot of tips and tricks and stuff like that, was to teach people or anybody that wanted to kind of know the nerd stuff about guitars and the serial numbers in the back and stuff like that. First off, this is my Ibanez 7-string, one of the first 7 strings in my collection I've had for many years. Is an AX, as you can see, an AX 7221, and this is like their SG artist series, and this is a 21-year-old guitar. I've used this countless amounts of times on different recordings, bands, you name it. And to read your serial numbers like Ibanez, Jackson, ESP, they pretty much have a similar serial number index and all that, to where the first 2 numbers are the year, so it's 01, and that would be the month, which is April. I believe that would be the 3rd, and then the number, the model, what number it came out, so it'd be like number 735. China, but it'll usually say, what is that, Indonesia or Korea, but it'll also usually be C. I would be Indonesia. Trying to think what the other ones are. Just know those are usually like the ones, when it says C, that's usually like they're cheaper models and stuff like that. The dual walnut strips, you'll usually notice those are the ones that weren't Japanese, because you'll know a Japanese model of an Ibanez will have a J instead of a C or an I, and down the neck over here there'll be one strip of walnut that's just like an oval, and it's hard to really hear the difference on tone, except the body is mahogany. It's a better mahogany than the mahogany that they have on it in the later years, like 99 through 2000 was a better mahogany, and then like from 2002, 2003, like when they started discontinuing the models, they started using basswood. And I believe the C as well also stands for Cort, because they used Cort, Ibanez, and a couple other companies were in the same factory, and that was like a bad time. You could even go look up a lot of the history behind it. It was a very bad time of that company or that factory, because a lot of abuse, etc., etc. I definitely recommend, if you're into guitar history and that kind of standard of reading the serial numbers, because let me go get my 6-string Jackson, because you'll see on this serial number on the back plate, don't know how well that'll pick up, you'll see CWJ 21, so 2021 27871, and self-explanatory how I was explaining it. Obviously it'll say crafted in China. CWJ, I haven't read too much into Jackson's serial numbers, because back in the 90s it was so jumbled up, hard to read, because that was way before Fender bought them. So I believe Fender bought Jackson in 2003. In my personal opinion, Fender did a lot better quality control with Jackson, even though my first Jackson was a KE3 Professional. I think it came out in like 97. But to each their own. Everyone, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and it's all preference and all that. Is anything with guitar. The most confusing serial numbers to read will obviously be Gibson. Like I believe it was the 80s through the 90s had the most confusing serial numbers. You had to like add the first 2 numbers and the back 2 numbers. But that's definitely something, if you want to get into reading serial numbers when you're buying newer guitars or used guitars off anybody, you always want to check the serial numbers, because someone goes, oh, it's a Japanese made Ibanez or Jackson, ESP, LTD. You want to ask them for the serial number in the back. So like I said, if it doesn't have a J or whatever it is for that specific year, you can call it out as being a fraud. But hopefully that helps anybody out, and once again, thanks for stopping by and giving us a try.